about it and do something!
Suck my big earth with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent if your friend was?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening and welcome, YouTube, to another edition of Jem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. We're back with a whole new year of news, views and gossip and stuff from across the imaginary plane. Joining me this evening, I am your host, Jem, I should say, and joining me, as always, are all the cool kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. They are Curved, Kosho if he made it, Quarters is definitely here, Scott didn't make it, Lewis did, and I think that's it. Is that everyone?
We have Spur Schemo with us. He nipped in at the last second.
From time to time, on our safari around the flat plane, we managed to bag us a live one. We've strapped him to a gurney so he can't do any harm. It's the flatty you love to hate, my very good mate, Spurs Chemo.
Good evening to one another.
Welcome to you, Chemo. How are you? And how is everyone, in fact?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Ace is here, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm here as well, Jim.
Kosho, welcome. Late as always. Right, should we get straight on with it?
Yeah.
I think we should. Chemo was very excited to tell me at the start of the week about a rare flat earth debate success when owner of the largest Facebook group in the world, Nathan Thompson, took on Team Skeptic in a face-to-face live debate somewhere in Texas. Let's take a look. And as usual, I'm not ready. But I will be any second. It's coming, guys. Bear with me. Yeah, we're off.
We're going to have Team Skeptic starting today. He's going to be basically making a 10-minute flexible opening statement. And then we will have Nathan making his 10-minute flexible opening statement. And by flexible, I mean 8 to 12 minutes. And following that, we'll have open discussion followed by Q&A.
My second argument is that the atmosphere would cease to exist on the heliocentric model because of the second law of thermodynamics. The gas in our atmosphere is inhomogeneous and anisotropic, so it's moving around and it's different in all directions. But the necessary antecedent to all gas pressure, be it static or dynamic systems, is closed container. Pictures of the South Pole, pictures of satellites, pictures of Earth's solar system, they are all cartoons. The heliocentric religion is based on cartoon cosmology, outdated pseudoscience. Real science needs an observation, a hypothesis, and then rigorous experimentation. You cannot simply observe something and then declare what is happening, which is what we saw here with the ring laser gyro. And if you're going to observe and declare that that is Earth rotation being measured by the ring laser gyro, no, that doesn't even make sense. It's not measuring Earth rotation. It's simply a fallacy called affirming the consequent, where you observe and declare. If P, then Q, P happens, so Q. All that we witness in a ring laser gyro is light moving. We do not witness Earth moving. There's no naturally occurring phenomenon for that, and there is no independent variable for that. So when Team says that's an experiment, he is wrong. He is scientifically illiterate. He doesn't know what an experiment is. I'll agree things fall at 9.8 meters per second, but the problem with gravity is that Newton never formulated a hypothesis, which is required for the scientific method, and then that evolved into bendy space-time, which is Einsteinian theoretical physics, which has no practical application to reality. How big is the Earth and how much Earth curve should we see?
That's irrelevant.
Well, how big is it? What do you mean, how is that irrelevant?
I just explained to you on why you can see distances further than what you think you should be able to see due to atmospheric conditions. So until you make a more defined question and say, how much should I see on this temperature with this much pressure and at this height? I mean, what
how
observation
much curve did we
height?
see on,
you know
on
what?
the Tampa?
Hey, look down on the ground. Put your eyeball on the ground, and guess what? The entire Earth curves away from you at that point. When you make your viewer height 0 feet, how high is your viewer height? Of course, how far should I see? How far should we see, Nathan? Tell me. On our model, how far should we see?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out.
No. Tell me.
What do
You're
you
the
mean
one
your
debunking.
model?
You obviously know
I'm
what I
trying
believe,
to learn
right?
what
You're
your
telling
model
me.
is. Also, the
Well, then what are you
audience
doing
might
here?
not know
what
what your
doing
model
here?
is.
If you're trying to learn it now, what are you doing here? You're
I
the
also
one
want to
telling me that
clarify
what
for
I
the
believe
audience.
is wrong. So tell me how I'm wrong.
I don't want to talk about beliefs, okay? I want to clarify for the audience, how big is your ball-tilted Earth in space?
It has a circumference of about 25,000 miles.
Excellent. So at 10 miles...
At the equator, yeah.
At 10 miles, how much Earth curve should we see, Team Skeptic?
See, that's the how ignorant your question is, because you're not giving me a viewer height. You're not giving me anything.
At sea level.
At sea level. Okay, so...
How much should Earth drop downward in 10 miles with
there's
0 observer height,
There's an
team?
equation out there that is...
It's 8 inches per mile squared.
No, it's not 8 inches per mile squared. Can you please plot out what 8 inches per mile squared is on a fucking graph, and then show the world what 8 inches per mile squared looks like on a graph, and tell me that that's what I believe the shape of the fucking Earth is?
What do you want me to use, AutoCAD, Sagitta, or Pythagorean theorem?
Anything. Any goddamn thing out there. Just plot out what 8 inches per mile squared. Let's see how mathematically literate you
Sure.
are.
Which one do you want me to use, Sagitta, Pythagorean?
Whatever you want to use. Pick whichever one you want. Plot out on a graph what the graph looks like at 8 inches per mile squared, please, and show the people of here how smart you are and how that's what I believe the Earth looks like.
Okay, so...
You're about to look dumb as fuck, by the way.
So, according to Sagitta, at 10 miles, we would see 66.69 feet of Earth curve. According to Pythagorean theorem... According to.
Do the fucking math, Nathan. Plot it out. I asked you to do something. Plot out that particular equation on a graph and tell me that looks like a globe Earth.
I just asked
Graph
at 10 miles.
plot the graph. Plot the graph.
I just asked at 10 miles.
Hold on, please, everybody.
Yeah, I just asked at 10 miles how much
Plot
Earth
it out.
curve should
Plot
we
out
see?
the graph. No, plot out what you just said. 8 inches per mile squared. Plot that out on a graph and tell me that I believe the Earth looks like that. Please. Do you even understand that if you're looking... Okay, I'm going to explain something to you for everybody that's dumb enough to use this argument of perspective. When your eye level is this high for something, no matter how fucking far away it gets, for something to obstruct it more, it has to be above that. Do you understand that?
Not necessarily.
No. Yes, absolutely fucking necessary. No. It's in the goddamn graph right there.
Depends on your angle of attack.
Let's hear the case or the side problem.
Just relax, bro. It's okay. Cartoon globe religion.
I want you to graph it out right now.
A chance just to... So, if you do have a depiction of the graph... Oh, thanks so much. If you have a graph...
No, I was just asking Earth curve at 10 miles. If it's a ball, like he said, 25,000 miles around, you could plug it into AutoCAD. At 10 miles, there should be a vertical drop. Yeah, please stop interrupting while I dismantle your globe religion. Okay?
Do you even know what the shape is of the graph of that equation? Do you? Yes or no?
So you're asking...
Yeah, I'm asking, do you know this?
Yeah, it's a parabola.
Then why the fuck are you using it?
Because it's
That's
accurate.
Fucking stupid.
Because it's...
Again.
Let's give him a chance to respond.
Because it's...
Trying to use an equation that's none... Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Because it's accurate up to 1,000 miles.
How would you even know?
Well, because I've got the AutoCAD, the Pythagorean theorem, and the Sagitta right here.
You're telling me you don't know how to do the equations yourself?
No, I do. You don't know. Because I asked you how much curve we should see at 10 miles, and you didn't know.
How much should we see? How much should we see? Do that. No. Don't look there. Tell me how much we should. No,
it's easy. 666.
Oh, 666. And how did you come up with that, Nathan? How did you come up with that number? How did you come up with that number? What equation did you use? No, what equation did you use?
You gave the
Admit the equation right now. Don't avoid my question.
You gave the measurements for the globe.
Don't avoid my question.
It's your measurements. You told me it's a globe 25,000 miles around, Einstein.
Hold on a second.
Okay?
So
I used your measurements.
He's asking for the equation, which seems relevant. So is it, let's give him a chance. He's asked for the equation and...
Don't look for the answer. Give me the equation. Do the math for me right now.
According to Pythagorean theorem, it's 8 inches per mile squared.
Oh my God.
And that's
You
accurate
are
up,
so dumb.
and that's accurate up to 1,000 feet. That's just
Again,
an ad hominem.
I don't care if it breaks. I don't care if you want to call it an ad hom or not. You're using an equation that is not even relevant to the shape of the Earth.
Yeah.
Jesus. You mean to say that your pizza Earth is flying through space up it like this? Wouldn't that be a straw man? Wouldn't that be me telling you something that you don't believe in? Well, guess what? I don't think the Earth's a parabola.
You think it's 25,000
Guess
miles
what?
around, though, right?
I don't think it's a fucking parabola. So
you
stop
think it's
using these
25,000
parabolic equations and saying this is what I believe, because guess what? You're fucking wrong.
AutoCAD's not a parabolic equation. AutoCAD's a program they use to make engineering parts.
Okay, so you don't know what you're talking about. You're just reading numbers from somebody else and believing them. Yes?
Yeah, but the AutoCAD,
yes or no? Are you doing that? Yes or no?
Matches.
Are you doing that? Yes or no?
No,
You're not. Oh, you did this yourself.
Yeah, you can
You
do
went
this
out and
math
measured it yourself. Oh yeah, I believe that. Where's your fucking
You can do
evidence for that?
spherical trigonometry on a paper. You don't have to go
Then why
outside.
the fuck do you think that the sun is where it is in the sky? If you can do all this trigonomic equations, how can you look up in the sky and say, oh, it's flat? Because guess what? The position of the sun in the sky, with all this trigonometry thing that you're actually saying that you know how to do to prove the shape of the Earth and how much curvature and drop it is, those same functions tell you that where the position of the sun is in the sky makes your position absolutely false. And there's no way to fucking say, oh yeah, the position of the sun in the sky absolutely proves that the Earth is flat. Oh yeah, really? We've done the fucking test.
Can we get back to Earth curve?
That's what I'm talking about.
Jeez Louise, dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
Can you
Earth
relax
curve.
and take a seat?
No, hell no. I'm having fun.
I know your globe religion's melting. It's 2020, and you still think you live on a tilted cartoon.
Straw man piece of shit.
So, if we.
Oh boy. Man, oh man.
Man, that's a lengthy clip there, man.
It did go on a bit, didn't it? As I sat there watching it, I was thinking, yeah, I probably didn't need to include all of this.
Like I said, it reminds me of why I don't watch these debates anymore.
Yeah.
Still though,
It makes me think that Team Skeptic there didn't know what he was getting himself into.
I don't know. It's excessively animated, and nothing positive seemed to come of the whole interchange. I'm trying to think of something funny to say, but it's just not coming.
I think.
I mean,
no, yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
It's like we always have the chest with a pigeon memes. I mean, that's all it is. Like, I mean, Team Skeptic was making some decent points there, but they were just completely being ignored by Nathan, and the real positions that they have were never really talked about. It
Right.
I think
seemed like a waste.
Go ahead, Coach.
I was just saying, I think it's honestly like his confidence that beat him ultimately, because he was way too confident, and he let his confidence and then Nathan's kind of like nonchalance like anger him a little bit, and obviously like you see that comes across. I mean, it comes across to people who don't know, or who are maybe watching this, to get information. Like the few people who are trying to learn from watching something like this, they're gonna view it as Nathan is cool, calm, collected, and Team Skeptic. I know, Lewis, you said it was that he had relevant points and good points. I think that his points that he was making were almost irrelevant. Like some of them were relevant, but then he started going on about irrelevant stuff, and that looks like you're obfuscating, and especially if the other person's being cool, you could turn the whole thing around. So I could definitely see how they view this as a win.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Of course they view this as a win.
Chemo, that sounds like a cue for you.
For me, this just highlights why the mainstream scientists will not debate flat earthers at any capacity. There's nothing more Team Skeptic could have done. He was asked questions that any ball earther would have struggled to answer. So I don't think the problem was with Team Skeptic. I think the problem is, and always will be, is the globe, because you have trouble answering the question. So it's always going to be a victory anytime we see a flat earther go up against any mainstream scientist. I don't see how it would have went any different with anybody else. They would have fumbled, struggled. So for me, Nathan did what flat earthers do best, which is prove that we're not on a spinning ball.
Well, I agreed with a little bit of what you said at the beginning, that this is why
Okay,
no
well,
one argues with them.
I thought nothing funny could be said, but I was wrong.
I mean,
I'm all in with Chemo. I think he's correct, and there's not much we can do about this.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, you know, I heard a lot about this debate before I actually watched it, and I only got to watch it yesterday. So I'd been hearing about it for a few days, and you know, I didn't think he did as bad as other people seem to think he did, even on our side of the argument. So, and I guess the thing I also want to say is, you know, I've also been wound up by Nathan Thompson, and you know, I can kind of understand where he was coming from. I mean, I thought, you know, he kind of picked an odd hill to die on, really, because, you know, you can use 8 inches per mile squared to get the drop, but I think where I would have been attacking that would have been, you know, you're using drop to determine what you should see, and it doesn't tell you that. And
yeah,
you know,
there was a much better place to take it, which is I think maybe Team Skeptic didn't know the math, which if he had just done it, he would have been able to tell that Nathan was talking crap anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's how I would have tackled it, because I think if you could have, you know, I think if you, with these sort of activist flat earthers, if you can expose this publicly, that they're misapplying this, you know, this thing that is fundamental to the we see too far idea, and they don't know this basic thing, then obviously it's never going to change their mind, but it has to, you know, it should call into question every time that they've looked at an horizon in the past and made this flat, you know, this determination that they're seeing too far. Because if they were doing the maths wrong in the first place, then they may not have been seeing too far in all of those cases. So I think if you can expose that, I think that's good.
He tried a little. I mean, he did talk about viewer height quite a bit and how it was never being provided. So.
Right.
I touched on it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he did too bad, but he did lose his temper. But I can understand it because, you know, Nathan Thompson's delivery is just, you know, you saw him there at the end making a comment, oh, it's an ad hom, or, you know, drawing attention to that, which it was. But of course, his narrative is you know, is laced with these, you know, your cartoon ball religion and you know, this sort of thing. You know, you know, almost every paragraph has something like this in it. You know, and of course that makes people angry. I know it does me.
Well, it's intended to.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Swings and roundabouts. I think it could have been worse. So Chemo, I heard you were planning, you know, repeating this idea of the live debate format with myself and Riley. I heard the billing was.
Yeah.
You don't die on me now. You're the impresario of this event.
It's going to have to be a
well, yeah, the idea would be just to get another public debate of some kind.
I thought it was quite good. I could see, you know, I could see myself doing that actually. Probably not with Riley, but I could see myself doing that. I think it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what's needed now. Obviously,
I think I would be able to keep a lid on my temper. Probably. I can't be absolutely sure on that one, but I think I would.
Yeah, but you can see how much value that has, right? I mean, that's something I've always learned. Like you can take good examples or bad examples of people, and you can learn from them. And so it's like with Team Skeptic. I mean, you can learn exactly how much it devalues your whole argument when, especially when there's a contrast like that, where one person's cool, collected, the other person is anxious and animated, or maybe overly angered. You know. So.
You're looking
I
from
only
the
think-
outside. You guys are like, well, yeah, he could have done this, he could have done that. But when you've got to impress other ball earthers, which Team Skeptic obviously had to do, make sure we've got everything right, you're under a lot of pressure. So I can't see any difference with any other ball earther that would be pressed in public on particular questions.
I don't think him getting angry really devalues his arguments, but it makes him look worse in the eyes of people who already have their minds made up.
Right. There was a lot in his body language, I thought, that was...
He wanted to fight.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
He looked uncomfortable so much. Do you know what I mean? And I also felt a little bit of his frustration when he sort of said, you know, plot out a parabola and show the world what it looks like. And I kind of see him sat there, sort of perched on that chair. And I just thought, you know, how easy that is when you're sitting here to go, you know, parabola images, paste. You know what I mean? And there, that's what a parabola looks like. See? And I kind of felt the frustration for him not being able to do that, you know. You kind of need, I guess it would be kind of cool to have an assistant with you, wouldn't it? Where you could go, get me this, get me a picture of this while I talk, you know?
Yeah.
Nathan had some slides and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they did both do an opening statement. I mean, obviously, I only showed a couple of bits. I mean, I thought, actually, this is a point I haven't made, and I wanted to make, and I felt like I brought it out in those clips, was so much of what Nathan Thompson is now saying is just a direct transplant, Oakleyisms, quantum eraserisms, you know, directly the exact same words that they're using, you know. You'll hear more of this later because we've got another clip with Nathan Thompson in later, and you'll hear again this sort of thing. And it just, this quantum erasers idiocy that has been sort of rebranded by Oakley has infected this community, the flat earth community, so much. It is just, even you're coming out of that crap, Chemo.
I don't know about that.
What's being said?
Just Oakleyisms, you know. Well, you heard him there. He was all, you can't have gas pressure without a container. The second law of thermodynamics. You know, just all Oakley's usual crap. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think it's because he says it as often as possible, which obviously needs to be said, right?
He is the catchphrase king. I have dubbed him that in the past.
Well, it is a question that needs to be asked. It needs an answer. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it's got an answer. You know, in fact, the whole point of that question is only to garner a single answer, isn't it? The whole point of the question is to make people say gravity, and then you say, which sort of gravity? There's two types. Which type do you mean?
Absolutely.
And you don't even need to know which type you want it to be. As long as you can, you know, unsettle your opponent with this. And that's the whole purpose of the question, isn't it, really? That's what it's all about. It's to make people say gravity, and then you can say, it's just a theory. Newton never had a hypothesis, so it's not proper science.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other silliness like that.
But, you know, these catchphrases, as you put them, or statements, are not for popularity, or whether, you know, if you like them or don't like them. It's something that has to be demonstrated, right? That's why they're asked time and time again by all flat earthers. You know, we're looking to dismantle the globe. So we're looking for things and ways to show globe believers.
They're not statements. They're not questions. They're facile rhetorical tricks, as you well know.
Right. They are catchphrases. And I think that everything about them is catchphrase. Every characteristic that you could possibly is required for that to be a catchphrase, they are it. They're repeated endlessly. They're, as Quarters says, they're facile. You know, they don't have any scientific backing. It's just people proclaiming things in Hangouts. And
well, what they are, they're things that you claim are in things that you claim are in reality.
No, they aren't.
You claim that you have a vacuum next to an atmosphere of gas pressure.
Nope.
And you claim that this gas pressure is being held down by a force of gravity.
Air pressure is caused by gravity.
Right. Well, there you go. That's the problem.
No, there you go, because that's not the statement that you're echoing.
Yeah, but that question...
This is again a rhetorical trick where you try to manifest that we are saying things we're not saying and set us up for having to defend them. This is just more of the same.
But you're right. This is what it leads to. I'm not hiding that fact. You're right. So we ask this question. It leads from one step to another. And that person should realize, well, there is no gravity because gravity is not a force.
He's telling me I'm right about something I didn't say.
But Quartus, he did end what he was saying with a facile
We don't like the
catchphrase.
catchphrases. We don't like the questions. But that's
it was
point.
themed.
Yeah,
all right.
It's intended to illustrate, I guess. Yeah, okay. I'll take it.
Right, shall we move on? Let's move on before we get too bogged down in an argument here.
Anywhere but here.
Right, so I've got to find my notes now. I'm all in a tiz. Okay, so I think we touched on this idea in a previous show. Here is a clip from Geronism's Friday show, brought to you courtesy of Phil Blacker's channel. Here's Bob from Globebusters with his plans to make Flat Earth a religion.
What I wanted to talk about today, and you know, I don't even care that I'm the one to bring this up because I'm always the one that's thinking a little differently. But I have to say that the more I think about this, the more I really think that it's a good idea. And what I'm talking about is on Wednesday night, 2 days ago, we had our meetup in Denver down at Goosetown Tavern, and I was talking to David Gordon about. He is actually investigating what it would take to set up a new religion or a new church, right? And he says, it's really quite amazing, and you get all kinds of nifty benefits. But he said, what do you think about if we were to turn Flat Earth into a religion? And I thought about it at first, and I thought, oh, that's crazy. I don't know if we want to go down that road. And then he started talking to me more about it, and I started, kind of getting what he was saying, in that it allows us an opportunity to use the system against them, right?
Yeah, it's like having our own soccer team, things like that. It's throwing the system.
Like Scientology uses the system in a way to. I mean, it's doing an evil way, but what you're saying is like get the benefits that religions get, not paying taxes, all this other stuff, to put it on research for the flat Earth. Maybe that's what you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's always nice, not having to pay taxes, 501c3, whatever. But that really is not what I was focused on. What I was thinking of is more along the lines of First Amendment enforcement, right? Flat Earth is absolutely, unequivocally the most bullied, badgered, made fun of, maligned. I mean, you name it. If it's bad, it applies to Flat Earth. So, as many people know, if you say anything against religion, Judaism or anything like that, I mean, the powers that be come down on you like a sledgehammer, essentially. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if we were to actually get serious and make this, into a religion and claim it under a religious context, then, we got YouTube, we could literally go after them on a legal basis and even get representation for free from organizations that do this under a right of religious freedom, right? It's like, oh, they're discriminating against us because we believe the earth is flat. We believe that, in some instances, the Bible, a lot of the community flat out believes that the Bible is quite literal about the cosmology, right? So we have biblical backing. I think the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking this is really a good idea to combat our adversaries in this. And I'm really, I really want to hear all sides to this, but man, I can't see a drawback to it. What do you guys think? Give me your thoughts.
All right. Well, I think he was being a little bit harsh on himself there. If it's bad, it applies to flat Earth. Well, I mean,
I was thinking that'd make a great little soundbite. That that might be in the next year's titles. That.
It's well, I kind of agree with him. If he can make it work, there's no drawback to them, and I'm surprised they haven't attempted to do this sort of thing sooner.
We have a scientific point to make, but because we can't make it in any way compellingly, and it's constantly getting countered, let's make a religion so that you can't insult us.
Yeah,
right.
That's amazing.
It reminded me a little bit of when Riley is talking about how he's going to change the world with his legal challenge. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit like that when he says, everything will change and we won't have to debate anymore and there'll be no more ballers and this sort of thing. And it's like, well, we can't actually win the argument anymore, so we're going to try and get off on this technicality somehow. You know what I mean? It's like that, I think, was the smell of that about it.
Yeah,
it is
kind of what I was trying to put across. It's like we can't argue our points, so we're going to make it impossible for you to argue with us.
Yeah,
it's an admission that they can't play fair, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad to see they realize that they can't argue their scientific point scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, Bob.
What do you think, Kimo? You're a flat earther, and is it fair to say you're a Christian? I think it is. What do you feel about the idea of making flat earth a religion?
I don't understand it, because flat earth is not a faith or something that you would worship. So I don't see what grounds a religion would be justified.
How about it? I mean, it looks, sorry to interrupt, but it looks like, I mean, this guy has set up this church thing. I mean, it's basically a website, I think, at the moment. But what about the idea of it being a sect of Christianity?
Again, I don't understand. It's fact, isn't it? So it wouldn't need to be something seen as anything like a religion. We're trying to get away from religion in the idea of beliefs, aren't we? We want to be able to test things scientifically, practically, and demonstrate these things. I mean, it just seems to me it's just talk amongst, circles, and they're just shooting ideas around.
Okay. But what about the sort of benefits that Bob was talking about? The sort of, the idea, I guess, that you could just publish more freely on YouTube and not be suppressed in any way, or that. I mean, don't you see any of that? What about those sort of benefits, or even taxation? Just
No, I mean, I think if we look, say, like 6 years, 7 years ago, to where we are now, I think flat Earth is doing the right thing. It's in the right place. It's a complete awareness. Well, not complete. I mean, we're in a place now where you can talk about it freely. It's not as ridiculed as it was. So I don't think. I think just given more time, this will be an everyday common thing. Just given enough time. Yeah, it doesn't need to be brought to, like a group, because this is for everybody. You guys have been lied to. You guys are flat earthers. You just don't know it yet, right? That's the idea here. And it's not about having a group of people worship something or believe something. So again, I don't quite understand it.
So this is a friend of yours, huh, Joe?
Yeah, let me ask any of my fellow flat earthers here. Any response to what Chemo said?
Well, I mean, I think it's blatantly honest in the face of what Bob was just doing, which is blatantly dishonest. And it's funny he used like the anti-Semitism sort of rules or whatever that people usually bring up about, like, if you say something about Jews, it's like immediately flagged. The thing is, if you were a Jew, whatever, 40 years ago, in the media, and you advertised this tactic for this use or whatever, it would not have, it would be blatantly dishonest. You know what I mean? Or it would be honest that you're doing something dishonest. And so it's like, he's basically openly saying that they're going to use a dishonest tactic, which, like Chemo's saying, it's like, if you have the truth, then you don't need that. Like, you don't need any of those tactics.
And Rodrigo there, that Rodrigo Ferrari Nunes, or what I think his name is, pointed it out straight away. He said, I think it was him, he said, well, what Scientology, this is what Scientology do, although they used it for evil. But,
right.
It's an equally dishonest little stunt, I think.
I think probably Bob's just coming from the protection side. I mean, I can understand that side, because obviously if you're getting I think he's thinking of people who probably want to come out, but maybe in fear of coming out. We have doctors, scientists, and, they will be in fear of their their jobs, their livelihoods if they come out. So I think that's probably where he's coming from, is more of a protection side. But it doesn't need to be, in my opinion, any kind of religion, because it's about science, isn't it? Testing things.
Okay.
Fair enough. Any more on that one?
I don't know. I think it makes sense for someone like Bob to be pushing this, because of course it puts him in a position of authority in the church, and the real purpose of the church is to consolidate the resources of the community into the hands of a few. So it makes sense that it would come from someone like Bob,
right,
rather than being a grassroots movement.
I should add as well that what we don't see in my little clip, but what you do see in the entire thing, is the idea wasn't well received really with the others in that hangout. Journalism didn't really seem to think it. He sort of took a similar view to Spurs, and it wasn't sort of roundly accepted as a great idea. And from what I heard, because he mentioned what was going on in the chat, there were people in the chat that weren't 100% behind it either, But then again, I can see how, if someone is a sort of, a biblical literalist flat earther, then it kind of makes sense for them to have a version of Christianity that, why not?
Well, bear in mind, Robbie Davidson already tried this with enclosed creationism, which is his particular Christian sect, which is intended to be a flat earth sect.
Right.
Didn't take. So.
But Robbie didn't go to the evil government in order to be recognized by them.
I don't actually know if he did. He's Canadian, so he would have to do it up here. I don't know if he did or not.
But yeah, I guess he could have unsuccessfully never mentioned it. But
yeah, never.
I think it's ironic that these people who hate the government the way they do and everything want to be recognized by the government and get
protected by
from the government.
And I think the last thing that we want is the government giving us any kind of green light on any go ahead. So even if, say, for example, the government had a hand in flat earth religion, as you call it, or as Bob calls, or whatever you guys are calling it, this still wouldn't look good, because like I say, the association with the government there, so that's not good.
overall, I don't think it's going to involve very many people. Not a big deal. As long as they don't go and try to like forbid bacon and caffeine or other silly shit. I really don't care.
Yeah, we definitely need bacon. Okay, let's move on. A little background for our next clip. Max Egan is an accomplished and popular conspiratard with a 200,000 sub following on YouTube. He also has a website and has authored some books and is a regular guest on various podcasts for the quote truther unquote community. Recently, he claimed the Christchurch mass shooting to be a hoax and that the Australian bushfires are being started by the government. However, he has always spoken against Flat Earth, once appearing on Globebusters to give Bob a piece of his mind on the subject, and also live streaming with a view to debunking Flat Earth when he took a flight from Australia to Chile. Last week, however, he had a change of heart. Check this out.
Hello everyone. Firstly, I'd like to clear up the rumours that are going around that I've been arrested. I haven't been arrested, folks. I've just been going through a very, very intense few days. The last 6 days have been like nothing I've ever experienced. And I've got a very, very important message to share with you today. I think this is the most important video that I've ever done, to be quite honest. Many people are going to think I'm mad. Many people are going to think I'm crazy. They'll think I've lost the plot and whatever, but it is what it is, folks. The truth is what the truth is, and I'm here to tell you the truth. So here goes, folks. You're living in an enclosed reality. This earth is flat. All weather is controlled. There's a dome roof over the top. Everything the flat earth is saying, well, not everything, but a lot of what the flat earthers are saying is absolutely true. This is an enclosed environment. And this earth, where we're playing, this playing field that we're on, whether it's the earth, but the playing field is flat. I do not think that the earth is a globe. I think it's actually something quite different to what everybody else thinks, but I don't want to speculate with any of this. But one thing I can confirm, absolutely, is that the earth is flat. The mud flood is absolutely correct. The guy from Mud Fossils University is absolutely correct in what he says. The guy from the No Forest on the Flat Earth, I would suggest, is absolutely correct in what he says. I've got lots of things wrong, but I've tried to correct those mistakes when I've made them. And something else that I got wrong is this isn't a globe. We're not living on a globe. If anything, we're living on the chest of a giant being, and we're having war games around its heart, and the rest of it's frozen over. I mean, that's a possibility as well. You know, the Mud Fossil University guy is right. And when the so-called planetary alignment happened the other night, that night, a bit after midnight sometime, I had this huge light shine on my head, and I had this huge download of the whole game and how it works and what's going on here. And the Truth Movement has been a fishing exercise to find who could crack the code, who could crack the game. And I've cracked the game because I'm the one who saw the light, you know, I'm the chosen one. I mean, it's sick the way they do this, folks, the way they run this. And in 2022, I would suspect the cataclysm comes. The ice age will come because that's when my passport expires. And I had this incredible thing. I couldn't sleep. I was up and down, but then I happened to lie in bed. And as soon as I lay in bed, I had this huge bright light come through, like literally come through the roof and hit me in the pineal gland. And I had this, I just went, oh my God. And I jumped up, and I've been a raving lunatic for the last 5 days. I mean, my friends have been probably thinking I'm going completely insane, but it took me that long. It literally took me that long. It's taken me this long to process the information that I received in that download. And the following night after that download, I also saw how the game ends. That I can't share with you. It's just not the place and it's not the time. But everything that I've told you today is extremely important. As I said, I think this is the most important message I've ever delivered. Thank you to the people who've supported me through all this with their funding, through all of that. I'd really appreciate it if you could support me through this next stage, whatever it's going to be. But hey, folks, it was the Truth Movement, and the truth is the earth is flat.
So everyone in the flat earth scene is buzzing. I've just been watching Robin, who is lifting the lid, my brother Robin, and he is as excited as me. I just been like absolutely so elated to watch this video. Max is so powerful.
That I've just caught Max Egan saying he's gone flat. Yes. But he's got the humility to say, I got it wrong. And this is huge. This is really huge. Look at the sun shining. This is really huge because he's got a massive following. I'm sure he'll get a load of grief. Yes. Me too, Martin. Hey, Roxanne. Me too. I'm absolutely stoked, mate. This is huge. Fucking huge. I'm chuffed to bits. Hey, how you doing? This is massive. Because think of all the guests that have Max Egan on. I can't believe it. I'm absolutely stoked. Whoa, this is huge because everyone trusts and likes Max Egan for his honesty.
Hi folks, this is just a quick video to let you know that I'm okay, just to let everybody know that I'm all okay. Obviously I had some weird stuff happen in the last couple of weeks. I got targeted, folks. I had some sort of a weird thing happen and I got targeted. I guess I was making too much of a difference with my fire videos and so they hit me with something. I was lying in bed and they hit me with something and they filled my head full of all this rubbish. And I haven't really known what's been going on for the last couple of weeks. It's been crazy. It's been really crazy. And I have no reference point with how to deal with this. You know, I tried to post some stuff online to show you what was happening to me and what I was going through. I thought it was important for people to see it. I've actually received a lot of messages from people who've gone through similar things as well. A lot of people who know I'm not crazy. But the point being, folks, they hit me with something. I just underwent a coordinated attack. They hit me with some sort of a light. Had I been asleep when that hit me, I would have literally woke up in the morning thinking I'd had an epiphany that I was the second coming and the earth was flat. And that's kind of what I was feeling anyway. And I had this overwhelming impulse that I had to post this online. It was crazy. But all the way through it, I'm thinking, but this is technology. This was technology, you know. My fortunate part about it that I can, you know, what I find to be fortunate is I was awake when I saw this come in and hit me. But you know, we hear about these things. We hear about these directed beams and we hear about mind control and all sorts of stuff, but we never really think it's going to happen to us. Well, that's just what happened to me, folks. And it's literally taken me 2 weeks to work through this. But I'm fine. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be doing more fire videos. I don't think the earth is flat.
Wow. Wow, what an experience. What a, you know, who are these other wonderful people who just have the truth beamed right into their heads?
I mean, this obviously young, healthy, sane man with a swastika tattooed onto the middle of his left palm had a brain accident in the middle of the fucking night. And, you know, now he thinks he's the second coming and that the world is going to end when his passport expires.
I know, that was a great one, wasn't it? I had to put that in.
I don't know where to start. Why does anyone take this guy seriously on any subject?
I know. That's what I find amazing. He has.
Well, if he's a ball earther now and he's having things beamed into his head, well, now you ball earthers have things beamed into your head. What's going on?
He looks like Dobby the freaking house elf, and like he's not well, right? Clearly on any subject. So what the hell?
Well, I think
I did call it. I did say I wrote a message that it could be a prank on his video and on Cool Pics.
The most charitable outlook is that he played this all for fun as opposed to actually having something profoundly wrong with him.
It's very odd. I mean, you have to admit, Chemo, it would have to call into question what, you know, his general reliability on things. If one day he says the Earth's a globe, it's not flat. Then the next day he says the Earth is flat, and then a few days later he said, "Oh no, a beam hit me."
Right.
And now it's not flat again. You know, it has to, surely has to cast some sort of doubt on his usefulness in as a truther.
All right, now, Kimo, for the rest of this segment, you need to speak in that Australian accent that you came in using to express your joy that Max Egan had become a flat earther and how important this was.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to see.
That's not the accent, Kimo.
You did do that, Kimo, actually, didn't you? But I'm not here to embarrass you. Curved is, however.
I am, but go ahead, do as you will.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I put Robin in there, because he was very excited by this. Although, again, I can't really see why, because I don't think, I mean, most people, when they heard about this, most people in the server, I don't know about most, certainly a significant number, didn't know who he was. We follow this shit, So, out in normie land, nobody knows who he is, so who cares? I mean, Robin seemed to think it was, it would bring all these other sort of people in various other truther communities that, would bring them to the flat earth, I think is what he thought would be the result of it. But I don't know. I think it's just lost him a load of subs.
Yeah,
definitely.
Whatever credibility he started with, poor bugger. I don't know what he started with, but he couldn't have done it any favor.
Right. I mean, I'd never really listened to him that much. I'd only really heard him because he went on Globebusters, he spoke against Flat Earth. He wasn't too, a point he made a lot, which I thought was kind of stupid, was that it's a circular argument and we can't know the answer, sort of thing, was that he kept saying. Which,
circular argument.
I know it isn't what a circular argument is, but he kept saying that. And then after that, he sort of followed that up a few weeks later when he had to make a flight from Australia to Chile. And he did a sort of live stream from the airport when he took off and the airport when he landed. He took a compass on board with him, and the compass apparently didn't read what it was supposed to read all the time. But that was really all they determined from it.
I do remember. Yes, yeah, I do recall that.
The flight took the amount of time it was supposed to take, and that was that. But that's all I knew of him, really. And then it's only really when I've seen this, I've realised how out there he is, to put it politely, for Chemo's sake. Were you a fan, Chemo, previously? Sorry, quote.
No worries.
I mean, look, I heard of him. He did that flight, like you say, but other than that, that's about it, really. It's just unfortunate, really, isn't it? I mean, Flat Earth is, I think it's causing such huge waves that somebody somewhere is looking to try to discredit it. So,
well, you win some, you lose some, I guess. And in this case, you won him and lost him.
I got some strong Von Helton vibes off of him, frankly.
Sorry, say again.
I got some Von Helton vibes off of him.
Right. Yeah, he is a bit Von Helton-y, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you subtracted the 200,000 new flat earthers that you immediately added to the rolls? The number of subscribers Max Egan had? They were automatically added as flat earthers, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. To the millions. That's a drop in the ocean with the millions there are. Who was it? Jason of the Disbury family. Somebody told me earlier. He claimed there were 12 million flat earthers in Brazil.
I don't think there's that many trees.
I wouldn't doubt it, though.
I don't know how many. Brazil's got a big population, hasn't it? How many people are in Brazil?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
Brazil has people that believe in Bilu.
That's true. Weren't they from Argentina?
I don't. Somewhere down there, anyway.
It's the same continent.
There are 209 million people as of 2017.
Oh my goodness, that is a big population.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Chemo a question very quickly about the claim about the directed weapon or energy weapon or brain beam or something. I was just curious, Chemo, where you stand on, because I know you made a joke about it or whatever, but I've heard people like maybe I shouldn't say who, but he's a channel owner or the server owner in 24/7, but he used to go on about this all the time about how he'd been beamed info from the government, and he's sure that like they're trying to control his thoughts or something like that. And so, several people agree with that over there in 24/7. I'm just curious how you stand on that. Like, if you see that as a credible claim or if it's just nonsense to you.
I haven't really looked into it, Kershaw, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I haven't looked into
Have you heard other flat earthers though bring that up?
Yeah, I mean, they've spoke about it, I think, but I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was just curious.
Flat Earth.
Say again?
I've been too busy with Flat Earth, haven't I?
Oh yeah, of course. Now, I'm just curious to see how that would be, how it'd be regarded by people in the flat Earth. Because I mean, it's like we see it and like it looks nonsensical or whatever, but I'm sure that other people see that as like,
Yeah, I'm not interested in hearing
happening.
his response. That's how disinterested I am.
On that note, shall we move on?
All right.
Okay, this is another story that we've touched on before, but the extreme hubris of these guys just makes them such compelling viewing. So, I'm sorry about this, Chemo, but I've got to be rude about these people. Take a look at this pair of arrogant morons. In a moment.
All right, so I'm out here, unknown location in Texas, meeting up with my buddy here. He used to go by T-Stew, 144,000.
That was Instagram, but it's always been T-Stew.
T-Stew, and so check him out now, Flat Earth Millionaire. He's got a challenge out for all the Globers to prove we live on a spinning ball. As far as I know, it's the highest dollar amount challenge that I've heard of. And so, how'd you come into this? Why are you doing it? How'd this come about?
Yeah, well, back in late 2014, I stumbled across some early videos from Math Powerland, and within 30, 45 minutes, I knew that the photos from space of Earth were faked. I knew that water doesn't stick to the bottom of a spinning ball. It's never been replicated. So I've been in the movement for quite some time. I've got a few videos that have near 1 million views on my channel. But I got into the movement simply, I was led by the Spirit. I was led to share this knowledge. It was weighing heavy on me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, how I got into it. But,
what does the challenge consist of?
The challenge, there's 3 main parts. We want to see replication using the scientific method. Observing, measuring, and repeating water sticking to a ball. It didn't even have to be spinning. We just want to see water conforming to the exterior of a ball. Okay, without it dropping and dripping out off the bottom and sides.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we want to see that.
Have to be a big ball.
Yeah,
because of gravity.
Absolutely,
Right.
because of gravity. This theory that supersedes the physics of water finding and maintaining level.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
that
a theory.
Supersedes the theory or law of thermodynamics. That the
second law of
gas would escape into the vacuum.
That's the third.
All right.
That's the third challenge is replicate using the scientific method, showing where a vacuum or zero pressure can exist next to a pressurized system. Air pressure, gas pressure, atmospheric pressure. It's pressure. It has to press. It's pressing against something to have pressure.
Yeah.
Just like in my air tank, there's air pressure. It has to press against a solid barrier. Just like a propane tank, gas pressure has to pressure has to press against a solid barrier, a tank. So I want it replicated. It can be in a lab. It can be in your garage, your mama's basement. It can be anywhere, replicated. having a vacuum chamber next to a pressurized system, gas pressure, air pressure, atmospheric pressure, doesn't matter, without a solid barrier, without it violating the second law of thermodynamics.
Yep, without a sealed container.
Yep.
Sweet.
And then of course, the second, we skip from 1 to 3, but the second is I want to see where sea level, where the physics of water, finding and maintaining level, go from sea level, being level and flat, a flat surface, to convex. We want to see where sea level turns to sea curve, okay? They've shown like that picture of Lake Pontchartrain where it shows the limited angular resolution of our eyes in the camera. It looks like it's curvature,
Where
but if
they
you go up
zoom
higher,
in at the one part of the atmosphere where it's being distorted the most,
Yes.
and then say, oh, well, look, and then I heard this in the debate the other day, the only thing that could cause that is Earth curve. And you're like, dude, if it's curving, here's the best one. If it curves 7 miles away from you, how does it not curve 7 miles side to side?
Yeah, left or right. You
I
know,
mean, come on.
When we go to the Cayman Islands every single year, me and my family, you go to 7 Mile Beach in the Cayman Islands. And in the Cayman Islands, you can sit on the beach and you can look left and you can look right. You can see 7 miles. You can see the port where all the cruise ships come up, and you can see Rum Point at the far right. So you can see literally 7 miles from left to right. So from left to right, 7 miles, 8 inches on the mile squared, there should be some type of slight bit of degree of convexity in that water, but it's flat all the way across. If you're telling me if I go another 7 miles down, I look at the same perspective, that's 14 miles, it's still flat. And I keep doing that, repeating over and over and over again. If I go higher, I can see 20-something miles, 30-something miles, and there's still no curve. I mean...
So the money is on the table, Globers. There's $100,000 on the table. I know Tanner's good for it. Tanner is not just an activist himself, but he supports some of the stuff that I do. So big props to Tanner, dude. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he does it himself. Dude's got "It's Flat" on his license plate. As far as I know, he's always sharing Flat Earth. He's making YouTube videos that have tons of views, and he supports activists too. Badass. Not many people support and do activism.
Right.
That's,
They'll do both.
They either
It's either one or the
say,
other.
Nate, you do it for me. Here, I'll help you with this. But he does it both, you know? So walks the walk, talks the talk. I know he's good for it. So if any of you ballers can prove we live on a spinning ball, we got $100,000 for you, and I can go do something else.
Right,
So,
and
that'd be great.
the verifications of funds, it's already been verified. I tried to get $100,000 from my bank in cash, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have $100,000 in cash." I'm like, "You're a bank. What do you mean? All we can do is a cashier's check." So what I did, I withdrew a large sum of money, $640 something thousand, and I verified the funds. Me walking out the bank. It's on my YouTube channel, Flat Earth Millionaire.
There we go.
So there's verification of funds there, over $600,000. So the money's there. So in that second challenge, we want to see the physics of water finding and maintaining level being superseded by a theory called gravity. Now, I've heard globetards say, a theory is the highest part in science. It's the highest you can get. No, a physical law is the highest level of science, of the scientific method. Not scientism, not pseudoscience, but the scientific method, okay?
But gravity doesn't even pass as a theory because it doesn't have an observation, hypothesis, and experimentation. It has none of that. Newton never formulated a hypothesis, and then Einstein allegedly superseded Newton's gravity with the bending of space-time. Space has no properties and time isn't physical. So to think that something that is not physical and has no properties is bending to create everything we see.
And then, of course, you also have centrifugal force. We know this. Centrifugal force, everyone's been at the fairgrounds, in the Gravitron. You get in, it spins, and it sucks you to the side. It makes everything fly out. If you spin anything on a merry-go-round, that's called centrifugal force. It's a law. It's a law that can be measured, repeated, and observed, okay? So that's a physical force, okay? So there's no way a theory of gravity, which is lower than a law, can supersede centrifugal force of a ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and supersede and cancel out the physics of water finding and maintaining level, which is observable, repeatable, and it's science, okay? This is observable, okay?
To deny this is anti-science. So
it's a religion. You're a part of a religion. You have nothing but theories, globetards. So it is what it is. Now, not everyone that believes in the ball, not everyone is a globetard. If you know about Flat Earth and you've at least put some kind of time into it, yet you still deny it, and you still want to defend your theory and your religion, then you are a globetard.
Yeah.
You are an ignorant, psychotic, child abused globetard that never grew up and never dealt with the past abuse and bullying that you dealt with as a child.
Well, okay.
So if there's
So,
a bit
he's-
of buffering in that one, I was getting a bit on mine. I don't know whether it was just me.
It played fine on my end.
Oh, cool.
This is painful, man. This is an endurance sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Painful's one way to look at it.
Weep for the state of the educational system. Like, what has fucking happened?
He got so
Yeah.
much wrong, didn't he? But
Well,
What
the
did he get wrong?
the question I have is, how does somebody like that become? How does he come into possession of $600,000? What is he doing?
Why do you believe him?
I'm just taking him at his word there.
I did like, who knows, maybe his family has money. What I do find amusing is that he thought the bank just has this vault full of cash they could wheel out for you.
I know, and he said he wasn't able to get $100,000, but instead he got $640,000.
Something like that. Proof of having that much money anyway. So that's what I thought he said. But
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's implied or if it's obvious, but it seems like at least Nathan's making it seem like he's like his pimp or something like that.
yeah, no
'Cause
kidding.
he was like openly saying, he's like, yeah, he definitely supports other people, yeah, I mean, financially. So it's like, is he giving him money or some shit like that? I can't tell what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But why I thought it was worth including that clip was because, again, we heard all these Oakleyisms. I mean, how many times have we heard the word supersedes, which they're very, very fond of, Riley and Oakley, aren't they, in particular? They like that word a lot, you know, and just...
I've got a third, Jen.
Oh, okay, mate, yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Oh.
No worries.
Well, they always bring that stuff up. So yeah, it's amazing how Nathan Oakley's rhetoric, and well, I guess it's Quantum Eraser's rhetoric, which he didn't come up with it, but it comes from a very narrow-minded sect, in my experience, of fundamentalist Christianity.
Right.
And it's amazing how quickly it spread throughout the flat Earth discourse here, and now we hear it everywhere.
Right.
I heard it in when I went to my Lutheran school in middle school. This was the exact sort of rhetoric that was being used there. Like the law thing, though, they got that wrong. Law is not the highest.
Right.
It's not. I mean, I can see why they think it might be, because it's called a law and it's something that's defined as being true.
Right.
But it's, if that's all you consider to be true, then I mean, you're not really interested in learning.
And then, of course, there was pressure, press. I mean, I don't know why he was trying to, what point he was trying to make with that.
You know, he's trying to say that, well, it's gotta be pressing.
Pressing, yeah.
You got to press on something, as usually what their claim is. But I wonder if he was at all perturbed with Nathan's. Cause I mean, I guess he has a license plate that says it's flat or whatever it is. But I wonder if he wanted like everyone to know that, like his license plate on his car.
Yeah, they were standing next to what looked like a valuable property, I thought.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He says
so I got no problem thinking that
he
might
says
be
he's
rich.
an energy supplier. I think is what he does.
I have no idea.
Sort of buys electricity wholesale and sells it to businesses or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's possible. It is here. You could do that here, I think. Anyway.
I don't know if or how, whether he does or not have access to money. This is to me irrelevant. But
Yeah, he'll never pay it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you guys actually, because I know the other guy who did this, you guys all said it was silly to even attempt it or whatever. But he did say something in this video. He said that, and like the reason he brought that money out was he had something like one of those when you put an escrow or something like that, you have like a lawyer verify that you're actually going to pay it.
Right.
Was that? I mean, maybe I misheard or whatever, but it didn't sound like that's what he was saying.
Well, suppose you do. Suppose you put the money in escrow and say, I'll pay it out under these conditions. If those conditions are your satisfaction that something has been done, your money's pretty safe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, ultimately, the judge of this competition, this challenge, the person who judges this challenge is also the person who's paying out the $100,000 in prize money. And that's a fairly good incentive, I would think, for most people to make their judging of this more than rigorous.
Yeah, it's a vested interest.
But I said that on his channel. I guess my thing was probably blocked anyway. But I said that. I said if you want to be taken seriously, what you need to do is lay down the rules by which this challenge can be won, and then deposit the rules and the money with a lawyer who will adjudicate as to whether those conditions have been met or not.
Well, you could, in terms of trying to meet those conditions, you could take a picture of the Earth to do the water sticking to a ball. What was the other one? You could take a picture of the Earth again for the atmosphere next to the vacuum.
Yeah. Oh, no, he wants it practically demonstrated using the scientific method.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Just take a picture of the Earth and send it to him.
With a bill.
You said you left that in a comment, Jim?
Yeah, well, my comment was, if you want to be taken seriously, you need to... That's what you need to do, yeah.
And did he thank you for that?
No. Like I say, I imagine my comments are almost always removed from...
Yeah, did he remove the comment and block you?
Oh, I never went back to check, to be honest. Some of them, he might not be a blocker, actually. He's sort of,
Well, it's a silly little observation, but the Flat Earth millionaire is sitting there, and he's playing with like a $10 plastic toy level. Something that, a serious person that does work or whatever. I thought I read that he was some kind of a builder or something.
No, he owns an energy company, he says.
Well, why am I hearing different things?
You'd never use that level for any purpose as a joke.
I know, a proper working level would have paint splashed on it and plaster as well. That's
That would give you a medal for a start, but yeah, I mean, it was a toy.
Prerequisite for a working tool like that. Should
That's
have
a
white paint splashed on it, always.
That's a dollar store level, that one. That's,
He did say that though in one of the first videos when he made this challenge about the $100,000. He did say that something about his funds vary because of like construction, something to do with like building equipment or something like that.
Right.
I don't remember the specifics though.
Interesting. All right, shall we have one more clip?
I suppose so.
It's not too long, this one.
All right.
Where's me notes? What do they say? In our final clip this evening, dethroned queen of Flat Earth, Patricia Steer, makes a comeback with a brand new channel. But it's not about Flat Earth. Let's see what Patty is up to.
Hi, my name is Patricia Steer, and I used to have a YouTube channel, and it was about truth seeking. It had over 19,000 subscribers. When I pulled the plug, deleted it, and all the content, June 2019. This is December 31st, 2019. In those 6 months, I had a lot to think about. And I decided to come back with a different channel, with a different topic. And the topic is all about what I've been going through since 2016. narcissistic abuse. This channel today is going to focus on my story, the ongoing smear campaign of my name and my person. Future videos will not focus on me. They will focus on the millions of people throughout the world who are victims of narcissistic abuse. 20% or so of the population has a personality disorder. And I'm thinking maybe you know someone who does, or you suspect it. Now, I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist or a sociologist or anything with some letters after my name. I'm just a human being who has had a couple of bad boyfriends in her life. And I thought at the time they were pretty bad, too, in fact. But when I met the narcissist, although I didn't know that's what he was, it was the worst relationship I've ever had in my life. And I'm here to tell you that story. Now, I decided to do this on the 31st of December, 2019, to be a bookend to my narcissistic abuse. Although I know more will come because the narcissist can't help himself. He's probably preparing another video right now. In fact, leading up to this, because I had promoted the fact that I was going to be doing a video on this and opening up a new channel on narcissistic abuse, as opposed to the truth-seeking I used to do, he already made several videos, or videos within the video itself, talking about my comeback and the reasons why I deleted my channel, and just pretty much continuing the smear campaign. I'm not going to be discussing this narcissist after this video. There are some who would consider this to be a revenge channel. Now, the abuse of me began October 15, 2016, when I left him, and has not abated. He still makes plenty of videos on me all of the time. Either they're straight up videos about me with my name in the title or my photo, or they are regular videos about truth seeking where he puts what I refer to as a sandwich in there. Good stuff, and then abusing me, and then other good stuff. So his unwitting audience, most of them flying monkeys, are fed what he wants to feed them. And then they, of course, believe everything he says and then further torture me with comments. In the live chat, I would imagine there have been trolls, and I imagine the few moderators that I have will take care of those trolls. I imagine in the days coming there will be several videos about me, and they will perpetuate the abuse. If you see those videos, you will know why. The narcissist can't help himself. And he's brainwashed his flying monkeys so they can't help themselves either. I forgive the narcissist, but I'll never forget.
Wow. Okay, then. I mean, I don't know. My reaction is that I just don't care. I don't think most people care either. I think she would have done much better to talk about other stuff, like making it about her
Feeding
and
your
this
cat
struggle.
or something. Yeah. Anything
Yeah, it really frames how her audience can be. Her audience can now only be people who care about the plight and suffering that she has, which may be legitimate, but it still narrows down what her audience can be. And it's
it's narcissism itself that leads you to want to bring out, look at what happened to me. Like, everybody look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm not saying she didn't go through a bad thing. I'm sure she did. And I know some of the details of it, and it sucked. It really did. But I think that this is just further, attention seeking, and it gives more attention to her abuser. It's just
right. I think that too. Yeah. I think, to be fair though, she did say that this was her first show on that channel, and this one, in this one, she's telling her story. But she said that this is the only one where she will do that. In all the others, she's going to be talking about, narcissistic abuse and other people.
Right. that's what I heard too. It's like this one's going to name dates and people, but the next one is just going to be more general. But you know what I mean? It's all drawing from the same source.
Right. It is. Yeah. There was a funny comment from the chat. Was it delete the elite? Put, oh look, it's Michael Jackson. Which I thought was funny.
Well, you guys are missing the bigger, more important point here, and that is that, and you're not aware of it, so it's not your fault. I don't blame you, but you need to know that I'm live on the watch page, but you guys begin discussing the video. Well, I've still got like 10 seconds of it to go, and I'm way behind you. And so I need everybody to be aware of my plight here, trying to play catch up, so to speak.
People with better internet connections than you have the drop on you, and you're feeling upset.
This is more about my narcissism than
Well, to be honest with you, Kev, I've got it running. My watch page I've got running on my laptop, and mine did the same thing. I F5'd it to, bring it back up to date, but mine was way behind. So
it's not really about the tech; it's about the narcissism joke.
I mean, about me, damn it. 10 seconds early, so he can pretend he has a better connection.
I understood it, Curved, and I feel very sorry for you.
Thank you, Lewis, and I like your hastily arranged books.
It keeps growing every single time, because I'm just pouring through these books, because I'm so intellectual.
Well, I noticed your shirt's looking a little snug there, Lewis. Have you been working out?
No, it's just a shirt that's a little too small. That's all.
Do you even lift, bro?
All right, well, we run out of things to say. Shall we go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
We've been here a while. What does it say?
When did Chemo slip away?
Oh, a segment ago. He said he had to go. Just a little while ago. Not long.
Out of the room.
It must be hard for him. I'm always grateful for him for coming, because it can't be easy for him to
it's delightful to let him spew his bullshit rhetoric.
sit here while we slag off flat earthers.
If you weren't nice to him, no one else would be. So I suppose he has that to be thankful for.
Yeah, you've got me to be thankful for, Chemo. How about that? What a prize. All right, we're going to get going. So, join us again soon, probably about a month from now. We'll do another one for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comments section of this video. Or join our Discord server. The link is in the description, along with channel links for tonight's panel. I'm not sure if it is actually, but I'll do that. I'll add that. Our Discord has over 1,700 members, and we managed to keep a conversation going nearly 24/7. We welcome new members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time in about a month. So until then, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Have a great evening.
Stop talking about it and do something! Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate. Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent because you're friends with them?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.